My name is Jeffry Steele. I live with my wife, Monica, on Orcas Island in the Puget Sound area of Washington State. I'm a musician with a day job as a child and family therapist. We have a beautiful home, meaningful work, and a nurturing relationship. The older I get, the more clearly I can see how our fortunate circumstances are rooted in privilege. We grew up in intact families, in prosperous times far from any war zone. We were able to pay for a graduate education, and we inherited property. I was encouraged to develop my talents, to maintain my physical health, and face no overt discrimination. When I've been detained, it was civil disobedience and by my own choice, rather than being randomly charged to meet a private prison quota. We all come into the world expecting people to take care of us and of each other. But at some point, the adults feel obligated to subdue that expectation. Why is that man lying in the street? Can't he come sleep at our house? It should gnaw at the heart of any parent answering these questions, to be chiseling away at their own child's will to act against injustice. The severity with which parents carry this out is likely in direct proportion to the amount of privilege to be defended. Somehow I retain vestiges of idealism and hope for a just society, bolstered by communal experiences such as the Woodstock Festival, the Seabrook occupation, revolutionary Nicaragua, and Standing Rock. I endeavored to make my primary contribution to a better society through teaching music, but eventually decided whatever effect I was having wasn't worth the stress it put me through. As a performer and composer, I sought to bring attention to social justice causes. In August of 2012, while walking the dog at Point Defiance Park, my car window was smashed in by what would appear to have been a dope-sick thief, part of a Tacoma underworld I knew nothing of. Figuring that God was trying to get my attention, I decided that day to give up interviewing for yet another music teaching position and enter a one-year program at Tacoma Community College toward becoming a chemical dependency counselor. My cohorts there wondered how someone with a master's in music ended up their classmate when they did not yet have their associates. Some of them were newly sober or recently released from detention. The welcome they gave me made it feel like I was coming home. For the next 5 years, I counseled addicts and outpatient. One of them asked in group why I switched careers, and I told him about the car window. He responded, "Jeffrey, I'm sorry," sincerely offering a collective apology on behalf of fellow addicts. Indigenous people speak of directly thanking every plant or animal that provides them food or shelter, of giving back to the land what you take from it. I try to extend this practice of gratitude to every person, past and present, who paid the price for my privilege, whose homes were invaded by my Viking ancestors, who were enslaved, whose lands and cultures were stolen or toxified, who stitched my clothes in sweatshops. Could it be that, when history is taken into account, I have more harm done in my name to apologize for than that struggling addict? Through my time with this population, I came to understand the addict self as a hungry crocodile waiting for another poor soul to fall into the swamp. The addict self prioritizes getting high, even when the outcome is death of the user. Unregulated capitalism is doing likewise to our planet. Addicts who make it into recovery connect with a higher self that wrests control from the addict self. I believe our society must and can do this as well. I hold faith that virtually everyone, when their basic needs are met, their traumas and chronic fears addressed, their alienation from one another bridged, wants to work for peace and the good of all, still has that idealistic child somewhere within who refuses to settle for less. I support Bernie because I see his candidacy as a promising starting point for a movement that reaches out and unites the working people of the world. Attainment of this, whether or not he gets elected president, will require years of sustained activism, like that which may be seen germinating in protests throughout the world and also at his campaign rallies. It will be either this or sit by and watch the planet die. Those of us paying attention cannot escape symptoms of a societally induced depression, the evidence-based antidote to which is called behavioral activation. My goal as a mental health therapist is to redirect people from acting on their feelings to acting on their thinking. I have seen how our realities are shaped before we can remember, and how these realities shift when clients begin healing childhood wounds. The original wound, shared by most of us in so-called developed nations, was building tolerance for the suffering of others. But those who successfully inspire significant positive change do not heed warnings they are being unrealistic, because they remember and act in accordance with who they truly are.